The tank's hit! It's spreading! Move! Get to cover! Help! We need help here!
Imagine this. January 1945, just outside a quiet German village called Neneig. A Sherman tank gets slammed by a massive Tiger round. The crew inside fights desperately to escape. Flames erupt from below their waists. One man claws his way through the hatch, rolling in the freezing snow to smother the fire. The rest never make it. Gus Stavros, a hardened combat vet, watched the whole nightmare unfold from nearby. He'd seen death before, but this? Men literally burning alive in seconds inside what was supposed to be their steel fortress. Years later, in a raw oral history interview for the National Endowment for the Humanities, Gus kept it brutally simple. I'd seen it in movies, guys coming out of tanks engulfed in flames. Then I saw it for real outside Neneig. That image haunted crews across Europe. Why did this keep happening? Why could 5 men trapped in an armored beast turn into torches in the blink of an eye? To get it, you have to crawl inside the M4 Sherman and live the nightmare with them. Transition. Cut to animated cutaway of Sherman interior. Slow zoom on crew positions. The Sherman housed a tight-knit crew of 5 souls. Up front left, the driver hunched low behind thick frontal armor, gripping 2 steering levers, peering through a tiny periscope slit at the chaos outside. Next to him sat the bow gunner, basically the rookie spot. New guys started here, manning a .30 cal machine gun, tracers guiding their aim, but with almost zero decent field of fire. Behind them, separated by the spinning turret basket, rode the turret team. The gunner locked onto targets through a magnified sight. His world shrunk to a narrow circle. Foot pedals fired the 75mm main gun and coaxial machine gun. He couldn't glance sideways or backward without turning the whole turret. To his left, the loader yanked heavy shells from racks, slamming them home. Early models gave him no personal hatch. He shared the commander's exit. At the top sat the commander, half exposed through his open hatch, barking orders over intercom, spotting targets, guiding the driver, linking up with other tanks via radio. He was the only one who could talk outward. But that open hatch? It painted a bullseye on him. Stats don't lie. Commanders died more than anyone else. These 5 lived, breathed, fought, and slept crammed together in 33 tons of rolling steel. They bunked side by side under tarps along the hull. In battle, hours locked inside. Spent casings became emergency toilets. Grease and oil stained everything, skin, clothes, never coming out. Every main gun shot blasted hot brass across the floor and filled the air with choking, toxic fumes. The ventilator fought to clear it, but constipation plagued almost every crew. Sickness spread like wildfire in that sealed box. Intercoms broke constantly, then it was shouts or kicks on shoulders to change course. The roaring 400-horsepower engine and clanking tracks drowned out normal voices. But discomfort wasn't the real terror. The horror surrounded them, 71 rounds of 75mm ammo stuffed into every corner of the hull. When an enemy shell pierced the armor, those rounds were the first to ignite. Build tension, slow zoom on ammo racks, dramatic music swell reports flooded back from North Africa and Europe, Shermans burning far too often. The U.S. Army launched hard-hitting tests. First round, tanks drained of fuel and oil, but loaded with full ammo. Anti-tank rounds fired in. Result? 90 of penetrations hitting the fighting compartment, or turrets sparked fires. Second round, ammo removed, but fuel and oil left in. Same shots, same spots. No fires. Verdict crystal clear. It wasn't the gasoline engine turning them into infernos. It was the ammo. Crews believed the fuel was the killer. Germans mocked it as Tommy Cooker, after World War I British trench stoves. Polish tankers called it the burning grave. The infamous Ronson nickname, lights first time, every time, spread among vets, though the actual Ronson lighter slogan came years after the war. Likely veteran slang that grew legs post-war. Truth? Fuel had little to do with it. Early Shermans stored 75mm rounds in open, unprotected racks everywhere, sponsons bulging over tracks, stacks around the turret base within loader's arm reach, even floor piles near the bow gunner. Designed for lightning-fast reloads, 2 or 3 aimed shots in seconds, huge edge in fights. But it surrounded the crew with explosives. Any penetrating hit sent razor-sharp spall fragments ricocheting inside at deadly speed. Strike a propellant charge? Instant detonation. Chain reaction. Temperature skyrocketed. Turret blown sky-high in worst cases. Or fire flooded the compartment in heartbeats. CO2 extinguishers? Useless against propellant infernos. Only massive water worked, and Shermans carried none. Comparison stats for credibility shock value: Sherman wasn't alone in burning. Panthers caught fire 63 after penetration. Tigers? 80 in tiny samples. British Normandy analysis: 56 of knocked-out Shermans burned. U.S. surveys: around 65. Numbers rough, but not wildly worse than rivals. What made Sherman fires legendary? Speed and brutality. Ammo blasts gave almost no warning, seconds to live or die. Engine fires built slower, offered escape windows. Ammo fires? 15 seconds max. Position mattered. A few feet of steel, hatch direction, who blocked the way, life or death. British time dry runs, commander out in 2.5 seconds from open hatch. Gunner climbing past 5 seconds. No smoke, no panic, no wounds. Real combat? Meaningless. Early turret basket mesh walled off hull crew from turret escape. Driver and bow gunner dropped through tiny belly hatch behind driver, awkward, slow, often cluttered. Land under 33 tons, crawl away under fire. If wounded driver blocked it. Done. Loader waited on others. In explosive flash fires, 3 to 4 seconds delay equals fatal burns or worse. Engagement hook crews fought back. Many tied hatches partially open with leather straps, noisy on roads, let shrapnel in, but one less barrier to survival. Units drilled escapes obsessively. Others got zero training. Stats told the tale. U.S. First Army, non-burning knocked-out Sherman averaged 0.78 crew casualties, killed plus wounded. Burning 1.28. Fire nearly doubled the toll. One brutal example near the Rhine, 1945, Sherman crossing Canal Bridge hit by 105 mm flak shell. Round tore through compartment, blasted armor out opposite side. Instant blaze. 3 men trapped and perished. Driver and commander barely escaped. 1 tank. 1 crew. But 1 division lost Shermans at insane rates. Teaser for next section: keep watching. The 3rd Armored Division numbers will shock you. If this raw truth is gripping you, smash that like button and subscribe to WW2 Impact right now. Hit the bell so you never miss these deep dives. The story gets even darker, and more revealing. Cut to division stats: maps of advanced 3rd Armored, 1 of 2 heavy U.S. Armored Divisions, hit Normandy June 24, 1944, with 232 Shermans. Over 231 combat days through France, Belgium, Germany, 648 total write-offs. Another 700 knocked out, repaired, returned. Loss rate: 580 of starting strength. Every original tank destroyed nearly 3 times over. Only endless factory replacements, Ford, Fisher, Chrysler, Pullman churning out nearly 50,000 Shermans, kept them rolling. Tanks replaced fast. Crews? Not so much. Division 16,000 men, 2,540 killed, 7,331 wounded, 95 missing, 139 captured. Trained crews vanished faster than replacements arrived. New guys came from infantry, artillery, some never touched a tank till the front. No shared training, no rhythm, no trust. Strangers fumbling for extinguishers or belly hatch in pitch black. Belton Cooper lived the aftermath. At 27, an ordnance officer in 3rd Armored's Maintenance Battalion. Engineer background, Virginia Military Institute, University of Michigan Marine Architecture. His mission: recover wrecks, salvage what could fight again. As liaison, he jeeped daily through the void 50-mile gaps between front and supply lines, dodging bypass German pockets. At brewed-up Shermans, tanker term for catastrophic ammo fire, interiors charred black, instruments melted, remains of crews still inside. Cooper's teams removed bodies, patched armor, replaced parts, repainted white inside. Why fresh white paint? New crews needed to believe the tank was clean. Erase ghosts of previous men. He did this 231 days straight. Likely saw more destroyed Shermans and crews than anyone in the war. At 80, in 1998, he wrote it all down, Death Traps. Became a blockbuster WW2 memoir. Stephen Ambrose penned the foreword. Inspired parts of the movie Fury. Historians note it's memory-based, maintenance view-focused, narrow but earned. Cooper scraped human remains from more tanks than most would ever study. Shift to enemy perspective, but why so many losses? Not just design. The enemy saw Shermans first. Post-war myths fixated on Tigers. Reality? British study African fights, German tanks and guns caused 90 Sherman kills. But concealed anti-tank guns, not tanks, did most damage. Bocage hell, Normandy's thick hedgerows, ancient earth walls topped with bushes. Perfect cover. German 75mm pack guns hit at 200 yards, invisible. Sherman had to close in, tall silhouette, over 9 feet high, poked above hedges hiding lower vehicles like Panzer IVs or Cromwells. Breakout 2. Open ground? Better, but worse in ways. Long-range duels. U.S. columns took 50 hits before spotting shooters. Average tank versus tank range Western Front, 800 to 900 meters. At 500 yards, German gunners rarely miss Shermans. Survival odds have every 6 seconds after first shot. Shermans own 75mm? High flash propellant gave bright muzzle burst. Germans spotted shots miles away. First round revealed position to every weapon. Tiger's 88mm pierced frontal armor far beyond Sherman reply range. Panzerfaust? Cheap, one-man, close-range sideshot nightmare. Hollow charge needed contact, not velocity. Crews improvised. Welded spare tracks to hulls/turrets hoping to trigger shaped charges early. Mixed results, added weight, strained suspension, no guaranteed protection. One trick worked, white phosphorus, artillery marker, rounds. Hit a Tiger or Panther? Burning phosphorus blinded optics, smoke sucked inside vents. German crews bailed from perfectly good tanks, couldn't see or breathe. 5 men in, inferior, Shermans beat superior tanks, not with armor, but by making the enemy's air poison. Engineering fixes section. Hope amid horror improvisation only went so far. Core issue, unprotected ammo racks. Needed real redesign. First try, 1-inch applique plates welded over sponson ammo bins. Late cast hull tanks built thicker. Field kits sent out. But doubt lingered, if main armor penetrated, extra inch unlikely to save. Better, relocate ammo. Removed exposed turret base ready racks. Shrunk floor racks, added armored doors. Removed turret basket mesh, safer, easier belly hatch access. Game changer, wet stowage. All main ammo moved to hull floor under turret. Racks and double-walled jackets filled with water glycol antifreeze mix. Air pocket at top of each cell. Tests. Early water-only designs failed, shockwave ripped racks. Redesigned concentric tubes. Hit one cell? Liquid spilled, cooled propellant, stopped chain fire. Of 14 test punctures, 37mm 75mm rounds, only 2 ignited. Field matched, 1945 U.S. Army study. Wet stowage Shermans burned 10 to 15 when penetrated. Dry. 60 to 80. Fire rate dropped 5x. Cost, 900 pounds extra weight. Ready ammo shrunk to 6 rounds, loader opened floor doors for more. Total capacity rose to 150, but slower access. Loader lost stable platform. Wet models, M4A375W, 76W, Jumbo E2, reached front late summer 1944 onward. Many British Shermans missed upgrade. Early Normandy fighters used dry. Gus Stavros saw burns in January 45, wet existed, but not universal. Some crews unaware predecessors fought surrounded by exposed shells at arm's length. Contrast, Soviet side across Europe, another army ran Shermans, Soviets. Dmitry Loza, born 1922 Ukrainian peasant family. Joined Red Army 1940, Saratov Armor School 1942. First tank, Lend-Lease Matilda. Then M4A2 Sherman, diesel twin GM engines. Soviets nicknamed it Emcha. Loza commanded battalion in 233rd Tank Brigade, 5th Guards Mechanized Corps. 3 Shermans destroyed under him, survived all. Fought Ukraine to Romania, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Vienna. Earned Hero of Soviet Union at Vienna. Brigade then shipped to Mongolia, crossed Gobi, smashed Japanese Guandong Army in Manchuria. Loza praised reliability above all. Soviet 6 Guards Tank Army, Emchas lasted 2,000 to 2,500 kilometers before overhaul, matched T-34. But far less daily maintenance. Auxiliary power unit charged batteries without idling engine, T-34 crews burned fuel just keeping batteries alive. Loved 76mm gun on later models, superb American optics. Criticisms practical, too tall, high center of gravity, tipped on rough ground. Narrow tracks sank in eastern front mud, T-34 wider tracks ruled soft terrain. On fires? Different story. Diesel harder to ignite, less volatile vapor. Many wet stowage Shermans arrived. Soviet logistics, fewer spare rounds carried. Less ammo equals less fire fuel. Loza said Shermans didn't explode violently like T-34s. T-34 diesel leaked, soaked floors and uniforms. When hit, saturated clothes ignited, deeper, worse. Burns than gasoline, gas flame above skin, diesel direct contact. Escaping burning T-34 often left worse injuries than Sherman bailouts. Open step? No cover. Crews hid under own burning tank while fire raged overhead. Loza's memoir published post-Soviet collapse. Only then could he openly praise American tank. Not death trap. Dependable workhorse. Final twist. Survivability paradox. If Shermans burn so often, why best crew survival rate of major WW2 tanks? Overall, 24.6 Sherman crewmen died when tank destroyed. T-34, 76 85 mm 28. T-34 loader 39 fatality, driver 28, even safest radio operator 10. Sherman casualties even across crew. 12th Army Group Report, historian Stephen Zaloga average knocked out Sherman equals 1 killed, 1 wounded. British Can Studies, similar, 1 killed, 2 wounded. Post-Wet, dropped to 1 killed, 1 wounded. Polish 1st Armored Division, Machzek, heavy losses, Falaise especially, mostly dry Shermans. But for every 5 tanks lost, 1 full crew, 5 men killed. Ended war with crews surplus versus tanks left. More men survived than machines. Reason? Hatches. Sherman had more and larger escape routes. Wide commander hatch. Driver plus bow gunner overhead hatches, full kit through in seconds. Belly hatch for all if turret blazing. Later models, loader hatch. Compare, T-34 radio operator no personal hatch, weighted behind driver. KV heavies, 2 hatches for 5 to 6 men, jammed on hits. Panther, individual hatches but broke down before battle often. Sherman wasn't invincible. It was escapable. Closing reflection, emotional Belton Cooper saw wreckage up close. Carried those images 50 years. His death trap shaped views, but from salvage side, not turret. 49,324 Shermans built 1942 to 1946. Fought North Africa to Pacific, Italy to Germany. Driven by Americans, British, Canadians, Poles, French, Soviets, more. Post-war, Korea, Arab-Israeli wars, South America. Last retired 1970s. Those crews, burned or escaped, mostly gone now. The ones who climbed into repainted tanks, ignoring why paint was fresh. Who slept hand on hatch release. If this story hit hard, drop a like on WW2 Impact, subscribe, ring the bell. Tell us in comments, your country, your city, where you're watching from. And big question, knowing all this now, would you climb into a Sherman? These stories live because you share them. See you in the next one, more untold WW2 truths coming. Stay safe out there.